Welcome to The Explainer. Every single year, the World Economic Forum asks thousands of experts, what are the biggest threats we're all facing? It's a massive report. So what we've done is taken all that global insight and boiled it down to what it really means for businesses operating in Southern Africa. Let's dive right in. So, just to be clear, everything we're about to talk about comes directly from the 21st edition of the Global Risks Report. We're not giving you our opinions. Instead, we're using the report's powerful global lens to create a specific briefing for you, the Southern African business community. The report really doesn't pull any punches. It kicks things off with this incredibly stark warning. It paints this picture of a world where all the old rules, all the stability we kind of took for granted, well, that's all starting to break down. The whole environment is defined by competition and fragmentation, and you really need to keep that context in mind for everything that comes next. All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at the big global picture. Then we'll zoom right into the outlook here in Southern Africa. After that, we'll connect the dots between those global risks and the local impacts. We'll also tackle a really critical infrastructure gap. And finally, we'll look at the report's advice for, what do we do now? Okay, first things first. We have to understand the powerful currents that are shaping the entire world. To do business anywhere, you first have to know the major headwinds that are hitting everyone. The report surveyed over 1,300 experts on the most severe risks they see coming in just the next 2 years. And here are the top 5. Number 1 is geoeconomic confrontation. And don't worry, we're going to define exactly what that means in a minute. That's followed by the huge digital threat of misinformation, the very real physical danger of armed conflict, the risk of a global economic downturn, and of course the threat of cyber insecurity. These are the giant waves that every single business on the planet is trying to navigate right now. But here is where this gets really interesting, because the report didn't just talk to global experts. It also surveyed over 11,000 business leaders about the biggest threats in their own countries. This is where we shift from that high-level global view to an on-the-ground reality check, right here in Southern Africa. And the contrast is just, it's stark. While those global experts are focused on geopolitics and cyber warfare, business leaders in South Africa, Namibia, Zambia, and Botswana are dealing with much more immediate, what you might call kitchen table issues. Look at this. The top concerns are unemployment, a lack of public services, crime, and inequality. The global risks are definitely out there, but the day-to-day pain points are profoundly economic and social. And just look at this. The data could not be any clearer. In all 4 of these Southern African nations, the number 1 risk identified by business leaders is exactly the same: a lack of economic opportunity and unemployment. It's the one single unifying concern across the board. So that leads us to the critical question, right? How do those big, abstract global risks actually create this very real, very local problem? And that brings us to the real heart of this whole analysis. We are going to connect the dots. We're going to draw a direct line from a major global risk to the economic realities that people are facing right here in Southern Africa. So let's start with that number 1 global risk we mentioned: geoeconomic confrontation. Now, this is more than just a simple trade war. The report defines it as nations actively using economic tools, things like sanctions, tariffs, investment controls, basically using them as weapons to get a strategic leg up on their rivals. It's about turning our interconnected global economy into a competitive battlefield. So what's the first thing that happens when countries start using the economy as a weapon? Well, you get disrupted supply chains. The report is crystal clear on this. As this geoeconomic friction gets worse, the arteries of global commerce start to get clogged, or in some cases, even cut off completely. It's a direct, tangible result of all this rising political tension. And here is exactly how that plays out on the ground. For a business in Southern Africa, a disrupted supply chain isn't some abstract idea. It means the cost of importing machinery skyrockets. Just imagine a construction firm in Botswana waiting on some specialized part that's now stuck behind a new tariff. That could delay an entire project. It means getting agricultural exports from Zambia to international markets suddenly gets way slower and more expensive. And the end result of all that friction? Higher costs, slower growth, and ultimately fewer economic opportunities. See, we've just drawn a straight line from global power plays to that number 1 local risk of unemployment. But it's not just about these global power plays. The report also points to a critical vulnerability that makes the region even more susceptible to these kinds of shocks. And that's the significant gaps in both physical and digital infrastructure. Now, let this number just sink in for a second. According to an estimate in the report, companies in low and middle-income countries lose at least $300 billion in sales. every single year. Why? Simply because of unreliable infrastructure. That is a staggering amount of lost productivity, lost growth, and lost opportunity, all because of shaky transport, electricity, and water systems. And what's worse is that this problem is actually getting bigger. The analysis points out that globally, our infrastructure is becoming more and more fragile. It's getting older, it's getting battered by more extreme weather, and in some places, it's even becoming a target in geopolitical conflicts. And when the power grid is unreliable or the roads are impassable, it doesn't just slow things down. It stops businesses from hiring. It prevents new ones from even getting started. It is a direct brake on job creation. Now let's switch gears and look at the digital side, because the gap there is just as stark. The report points out that AI adoption in North America is triple the rate we see in sub-Saharan Africa. And if we look ahead to the next big frontier, quantum computing, you've got the US and China just dominating the research, while many African nations don't even have a national strategy in place yet, being left behind in these huge technological races, while it threatens to lock in economic inequality for decades, limiting the creation of those high-skill, high-wage jobs in the region. Okay, so that is a pretty complex, pretty heavy picture, right? But the report doesn't just diagnose all the problems. It also offers some strategic thinking on how to actually navigate this turbulent new era. So what can be done? Well, the report suggests a fundamental pivot in strategy. Instead of nations using economics as a weapon, the priority should be on finding mutual gains. Where you can't get the whole world to agree, the focus should shift to smaller coalitions of the willing to tackle specific problems. It calls for more public-private partnerships, and this is a crucial one, for strengthening, not abandoning, our multilateral institutions. Really, the call is to shift from this zero-sum game of confrontation to a more collaborative approach that's focused on shared stability and shared growth. And this all brings us to one final critical question to leave you with. The report describes a world that is becoming more competitive, more fragmented. So, given that the nations of Southern Africa face such similar economic challenges and similar infrastructure gaps, does this new global reality make collaboration within the region more important than ever before? Maybe, just maybe, in an age of global fracture, the greatest untapped strength for Southern Africa is the one that lies closest to home.